Okay, so I am live and I am disgusted by the things I see on social media. Most of it is lies. We have our men again willing to put our women out in the front. She's not even a woman, she is 19 years old, a teenager on the front line. And I love Pakistan Lee. But of course, we always debate because Pakistan Lee is more than happy to throw Black women under the bus. But as we look on his post after post about Bill Cosby and how he was done. Now, I this is my determination and my judgment on Bill Cosby, and I am not going to be moved from it unless he and his accuser, specifically those two people, come to me and say that is not what happened. Okay. At this point, that has not happened. At this point, this is my final judgment on Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is a guilty man. Went from his own mouth when it comes to rape. Bill Cosby is a rapist, point blank. Now, people will say that Bill Cosby didn't admit to rape. And I will agree. Bill Cosby didn't say, I raped somebody. And I know I did it. And I'm just here for the deposition to get through a civil case. No, he didn't say that. But his actions, what he admitted in the deposition, said he raped somebody. Okay. Unfortunately, I've been having a conversation for 2 days where men don't even know what rape is. Okay. I have had men out loud on my Facebook post, Gary, say that if a woman is intoxicated, if she does drugs, if she is in a certain place, location, or dressed a certain way, then rape is allowed. These men have actually said that she has to take accountability for somebody deciding to violate her because of what she wore, dress, location, and things like that. That is not true. That is far from the truth. A woman should be anywhere she wants to be, anywhere she wants to be, doing whatever she wants to do. And no man should feel like, let me take advantage of her intoxication, which is what the law says, intoxication or her vulnerabilities, and then pounce upon her. This is what the Bible says. Men claiming to be of the Most High on my page, and I'm going to show you in a minute, are saying that rape is allowable if women aren't on guard. How do you men with daughters feel about that? If your daughter takes a drink and she gets, if some man climbs on top of her and rapes her, I'm going to say you have to take accountability that this man decided to violate you. I mean, you were drinking. Do men take a drink or do a drug or be at a certain location deciding that, hey, this is what I'm asking for? I really want a man or a woman to abuse my genitals. And what's so crazy is that men are actually diminishing whatever ground level that they can make for young boys to come forward and say anything. Because if you won't believe a woman, how are you going to believe a man who's supposed to like it? It makes no sense. Hold on for a minute, y'all. My apologies. Sorry about that. But what I find so demoralizing about our community is that men will let the victimization of their women go. And I understand that comes from slavery. You couldn't save us, you couldn't do anything. You had to, I mean, like, in order to survive, you know, you had to allow Black women to be victims of circumstances. I understand that. But we don't have to continue to do that. There are certain things in our community that we have to heal ourselves because no help is coming. Okay. Now, I don't believe that about finances. I believe that we should always fight for that. But when we talk about our psychology, when we talk about our pathology and how we deal with one another, that has to be something that changes. And we have Black men holding a 19-year-old girl, Sha'Carri Richardson, who went to a school or who ran for a school. She didn't go to the school, but she ran for a school that I taught at, whose mother died. Well, she had to run her best race, and she coped in an unhealthy way. Okay. At 19, we're holding her more accountable than Bill Cosby in his 40s through 60s, who raped a 19-year-old. And you want to put up her pictures now. Well, Bill Cosby looks like shit now. He looks like, oh, poor dunk shit now. And he looked like shit then. Who the hell will look at Bill Cosby and be like, that's who I want to be with? But Camille, who's standing by her man. That's all right. I can't say nothing. We all do that. But no, he wasn't that guy. He disarmed women with his father's status of the Black community, with his supposedly being a moral compass for right and wrong. Keep in mind, while he demeaned the Black community and called Black men thugs and blamed them for going to jail. Funny how he went to jail. We don't even see that. Bill Cosby lives out his karma in itself. He demeaned the Black community, blamed Black men going to jail on themselves, while he himself went to jail because of a corrupt system. Now, is Bill Cosby a rapist? Absolutely, he is a rapist. But should his files have been open? Absolutely not. His lawyers dropped the ball, and he had a Black woman lawyer at the time who was going everywhere and promoting him, and she stepped aside because she eventually knew the truth. She'll say this, but why would you step aside if you really truly believe in the innocence of a man? Well, did she step aside? Did he fire her? I don't know. But his lawyers dropped the ball in letting that damning testimony, his admission of guilt. Did he say, I raped somebody? No. He said, I gave her a pill. And I have this deposition. I'm going to pull it up because I pulled it up for some men on my thing. I was like, maybe they just don't know, but they knew. And they said, if you take drugs and I rape you, that's not rape. And I have sex with you, that's not rape. It doesn't matter if you're semi-conscious. It doesn't matter nothing. They said, basically, taking drugs or drinking a drink means that I have access to your pussy. This is what these men say. And I have a problem with that. Do males have access to your ass because you taking a drink or done a drug? Well, the answer to that was, of course not. So why would that be the same for women? Because you should know. We should know that men are violent and rapists and will violate you at any given point. What should we know about men that would make us say that if I take a drink of a man, then he can take my vagina? This is why men tell women men ain't shit, because they know that's how you think. They don't understand the pathology. And that is a problem. I'm going to call him my brother because he is. On there talk about Sha'Carri Richardson's cry, people crying out for her is a watering down of justice versus Bill Cosby, a grown ass man who raped women in his home. We're not talking about how he shouldn't have cheated on his wife, how he should have kept the covenant with his wife, and that would have kept him from all these problems. This man blamed the whole condition of the Black community on parenting, yet he had two children, two, on drugs. One died while he was going to jail. Poetic justice. God rest her soul. God rest her soul. So clearly, if he was parenting, which I heard his parenting sucked, but if he was parenting, your parenting didn't make a difference in your children's life, because as an educator, I can tell you that environment plays a huge role on how kids are raised. Yeah, it does. You may not want to admit it, but it does. Sha'Carri Richardson is 19 years old, growing up in the what you would call a hood of Oak Cliff in Dallas, Texas. Stop it. Meanwhile, a man with means who was living his best life already, he already obtained what he had. He had to maintain and retain what he had, put it all on the line to rape women. Now, all you dudes out there saying, well, and I'm coming out with a video with every receipt. I swear, every receipt possible to show that the entertainment industry and a few people that I talked to in that industry knew about Bill and what he did. On a DL Hughley show, they talked about it. And DL Hughley said that's why they all knew. All the young comedians who was facing the wrath of Bill and his criticisms went in on him, telling jokes for years. That dude, I forget his name, wasn't the first dude who made jokes about Bill Cosby, because how you claiming to be morality when you raping women? And most of those who came forward were white, but how many were Black? Many. But we know Black women don't come forward when it comes to rape. These jokes and rumors have been around for years. People acting like they just sprung up. Oh, R. Kelly is more plausible because we saw a tape. Well, Bill has had this thing for a while now. Debbie Allen talked about his strange relationship with Lisa Bonet. The man who played Lisa's husband said that he met a victim of his. The black on Viv said that she knows victims of his. The girl who played Trixie in Players Club, I can't remember her name, but she was on DL Hughley's show, and she was like, everybody told her, watch Bill Cosby, wash your hands, don't drink anything. And then the girl, Roz from that show, what was that show? Night Court, said that she was warned. She said the same exact thing. I was warned of the same thing. And because she's not somebody you want to have sex with, it's unbelievable. This dysfunctional psychology in our community needs to stop. No means no. If a woman is butt naked running down the street, you don't have a right to have sex with her. If her legs are spread open, you decide whether you get in between those legs or not. You decide. We have to stop giving men reason to make babies that they don't take care of, to rape women, to assault people. There's no excuse, and white supremacy will never be an excuse to do that within our community. It's never an excuse. It's never okay. We knew R. Kelly needed help a long time ago, but we had too many of us around him helping him do what he do. Purge out the evil. Says the word, purge out the evil. Call a spade a damn spade. Yet, when anybody talks about the facts that Black women are being murdered 2.5 times more than any other race of woman by their men, oh, well, she could. You're bashing Black men by saying that, but that's the stat. That's what it says. So I'm supposed to sweep it under the rug and care more about a Black man's image than the safety and security of Black women, gender, and group that I'm a part of. How can we nation build by harming Black women and girls? We can't. How can there be trust so we can be on one side and move along? We can't. Okay, so now I'm off of this. We're going to go into my post, and I'm going to show some receipts about the pathology of Black men and how rape is no big deal when it comes to us. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I'm going to screen. I'm going to go to the post that I made about Bill Cosby. Yet Sha'Carri Richardson, who is 19, should be held more accountable. And I asked this woman was like, she needs to pay. And I was like, she's missing the Olympics. Her family is not being uplifted and brought out of poverty through her endorsements and everything that she could have to offer them. How is she not paying? She just was like, I want her to pay some more. And I was like, but how? You know, she took responsibility. We'll see in 4 years whether she has understood her her mistakes and if she has corrected them and she has time to do that. She will be running in a 4x4. So, okay. So I said, I'm going through my post. Remember this? Bill Cosby went on a rant about poor Black people and demeaned the way they talk. So he didn't just talk about, their inexperience or unknowledgeable actions of where they put their money, because Black people did not believe in investments in banks and stuff like that because of trauma that happened with Freeman Bank, okay? Of trauma where Black people did invest in stuff and their money got taken away and it impoverished even further the family. But he doesn't put that in context. And I say, remember Bill Cosby went on the rant about poor Black people and demeaned the way they talked, dressed, education levels, and what they named their children, basically making a call for assimilation. So our previous generations, for those who do not know, did call for Black people to assimilate and be greater than white people. But when we saw leaders who assimilated and got killed in three-piece suits, that didn't really hold too much water with the next generation, who said that you fought for dignity, from being at the back of the bus, but now we're being disparaged in new ways, which is going on unaddressed by the civil rights generation, who didn't do anything, who didn't teach us nothing. I can't say they taught us how to march and sing as we march, but they didn't teach us how to infiltrate and utilize systems in this country, because really they hadn't been a part of it and didn't know how. This generation, my generation, not even X were the beneficiaries of the civil rights movement, but Generation Y, which I'm a part of, which we're called millennials, are the ones who are starting to participate in economy. And a lot of people say, well, you're doing white people stuff, and you're not, because we invented economy. Mansa Musa went through Egypt and devalued gold. Okay. So there was already an economic system in place, and the value of things were already measured way before we were in slavery. Okay. By Black people. Egypt is Black people. Mansa Musa came from Mali, Black king. Okay. So that was already going on. So now that we're allowed, keep in mind, we were enslaved. So I hold no weight with Caribbean, and Caribbean people were also enslaved, but they still maintain majority in a lot of circumstances. So people had to work with them or else, be demolished like Haiti. But in America, that wasn't the case. Okay. So now we're finally being allowed to participate and to gain and to be as selfish as other places have been allowed to be. Although All right, my bad. Something's been going on with my internet service. I think it's because of the extreme heat of Texas. We always have extreme heat, but clearly our grid is not working up to what it's supposed to do. Imagine that. Okay. If any of you see me on other streams, I have talked about how they tried to freeze the hell out of Texans. Okay, but anyway, we're going to go on and I'm going to take you to my page. So we can see the pathology of our males in 2021, not in 1968, not even in 1999. In 1999, when I went to college, males engaged in giving women drinks and smoking weed and drugs in order to get sex, and they did not believe that was rape. But that was because we did not have a clear understanding of what the law states, okay? And the reason why the law states those things is because it's saying you can't liquor a girl up and then climb on top of her. You can't wait until she's passed out, drunk, or drugged and climb on top of her. In the deposition with Bill Cosby actually admitted that he gave this woman a drug and then he touched her in her stomach and she didn't stop him and then he climbed on top of her and had sex with her. He says that. In the deposition, he admits to having sex with Andrea. But when we go to men of the Most High, and I especially hold men of the Most High who are speaking on this situation in ultimate high regards, okay? He wasn't a polygynist, okay? He wasn't living a polygyny life, okay? He made a vow to his wife in 1964 that he was going to be with her. Had he kept his covenant with her and not played the whore, guess what wouldn't have happened? Okay, this is true in so many of the men's lives that I acknowledge and who I love. Even if you would have kept the covenant with your wife, you wouldn't even be in this situation. Well, for some reason, we don't hold men accountable, especially godly men accountable to being faithful to their wives. But I do. Ain't none of that over here. I do. And if Bill Cosby had kept his vows and kept his covenant, okay, he wouldn't have fell into danger. This is exactly the things that people, specifically men who claim that they are Israelites, claim that our people are in a condition for, but yet holds Bill Cosby to no accountability to keeping his covenant with his wife. If he would have been a grown up at 40 through 60 and not wanted some young tail, he would have avoided this whole thing. If he would have actually, I mean, like even outside of his marriage, which I don't agree with, if he actually dealt with women who wanted to deal with him in that manner instead of being the control freak that he demonstrated himself to be, he probably wouldn't be in this situation either, because there's a lot of men, successful and famous men who have stepped out on their wives with willing women who are not going through this now. Right? Not saying that that's the way to do it. It's just, let people make informed decisions. Obviously, the Most High loves Camille because he got punished for that. He got punished for that. For 3 years of his 80-year-old life, he was in jail. And rightfully so. He was guilty of the crimes that he committed. What happened is that the conviction was illegally obtained. And the fact that Black men, poor Black men, a lot of poor Black men, are acting like this is a win for them is crazy, because he was just telling people how you're poor but don't deserve nothing. It's you. It has nothing to do with the system or anything that's going on. It's just your mindset and where you choose to be. Although he's rich as hell and was in jail, right? Okay, so if it wasn't the top Black devils in charge, because we don't fight against skin color, we fight against principalities of evil, and there are people who look just like you who are on the principalities of evil side. On the principality of evil side. But he was just condemning young black men, and young black men are like, this is a win for us. No, it's not. He's rich and famous and has influence. And if it had been you, you wouldn't have been saved. Because I watched over and over the system railroad the hell out of black men, young black men, poor black men, and break all types of laws to get them in jail, all types of laws and protocols. And I had to get a young black man out of jail one time because it was so wrong. Breaking everything. And that would not have been you. It would not have been you. Matter of fact, you're the people that he ostracized and made fun of. And you're sitting up here thinking it's a win for you. That wouldn't have been you. Now, is Bill Cosby going to understand that his fame and fortune didn't keep him from jail and being being treated just like any other black man in society? We don't know that yet. But we're going to give him a chance. And until that chance, he is what he is. I don't care if he even does it. He's just righting the wrong that other people use to bury us with, that they still quote today until this Bill Cosby case came up. White supremacists and those who turned a blind eye to the oppression of the Black community quoted Bill Cosby. Real talk. If you're going to say that they did not quote Bill Cosby, they quoted Bill Cosby. But anyway, we're going to go back to my page and we're going to see Black men's responses, okay? And the indifference that they have to the oppression of Black women, which still is happening through rape, still happening through trauma, and not necessarily financially, but it's still happening. The biggest obstacle that most women have to overcome comes from their immediate community. And so as we rail against that, because we can't unite, this is what Queen Latifah was talking about. Her song is called Unity, but she talks about the mistreatment of women. Well, I mean, what is she talking about here? She's saying, you want me to unify with you, but you're punching me in my eye and grabbing my ass. That's not going to be how we unify. If you want me to unify with you, don't punch me in the eye, call me a hoe, and grab my ass. Yet we see men who claim that they're of the Most High, doing exactly that. Calling women bitches and hoes on my page, which I'm about to show you. Hope people ain't going through delete shit now. But, go through my page saying that if women weren't hoes, then they wouldn't get raped. So rape is okay as long as they're hoes. Rape is okay if I perceive her as a hoe. I heard things. I mean, there was a kid. I can't remember where this was at, but we were talking about, like, did she tell you to rub her hair leg? And he was like, no, she just, smiled, so she wanted it. And then his father said, you sound like a rapist. Different culture than ours. Because the Black man will look at me like, well, not every Black man, but Black men I've been talking to on Facebook and online will say, well, isn't that a good enough excuse to get my son? This dude said in front of us that you sound like a damn rapist. That's what rapists say to his son. Why? Not because his son was going to jail or anything. That wasn't even the case at that point because we were investigating. But because he just kind of was like, well, if she ain't stopping me, I'm gonna do it, and it was just disgusting to this father. Kudos to that father. Like, dude, you don't know what you're saying. Stop saying that. He was so disgusted with his son, Anyway, so I'm gonna go to my Facebook page and I'm gonna show y'all. Hold on. Share. I gotta share. Hold on. I just share my whole screen. hmm And I have to get off the screen so I can't see anything. So if you comment, I can't see. Okay. So remember this. I'm gonna get through it this time. Oh Lord. Remember this. Bill Cosby went on a rant about poor black people and demeaned the way they talked. Yep. Talked, dressed, education levels, and what they named their children. Okay. What they named their children. Okay. Basically making the call for assimilation and becoming the lapdog of anyone who wanted the black community to blame themselves, not policies, systemic racism, poor policing, etc. Without the context of both systematic and systemic racism, he blamed black parenting for the condition of poor black people. Yet, here's the hypocrisy. Yet, two of his kids were on drugs, and he was raping women in the home he shared with his wife while his wife was home. Nobody cares about that. Nobody's speaking up for Camille and saying how disgraced and dishonored this man made her. While some of what he said is true, and some of, like how we misplace our money, how we don't know how to invest, but that comes with trauma if you really understand financial trauma. And there's a wonderful young lady who speaks about it. She didn't understand it, but when she went through the history of it, she did. Um, while some of what he said was true and deserved discussion, you can't act like a moral compass for the black community while you're drugging and raping women. Coach did a wonderful job. He's a coach, woke, and research, unlike these armchair Facebook, YouTube scholars. Okay. Went in on this discussion. I'm not gonna play it because I don't know. Sometimes the thing doesn't, think. Okay, so here's my other post. Bill Cosby's case was overturned due. This is the fact. Okay, due to the immunity agreement being violated, not because of any proven innocence or guilt. It is a fact that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court didn't rule on whether he was guilty or not. They ruled on evidence being submitted into evidence, illegal evidence being introduced into the case to convict him. Upon that evidence, he is surely a guilty man. And men don't understand that, but we're going to go into the comments and you'll see why. Cosby admitted his crimes, and people are trying to say he didn't admit his crimes. He didn't say I raped somebody, but he explained his actions, and his actions were indeed rape. And people don't know what rape is still 3 years after this case. Just a moment. Somebody's knocking on my door. All right, my bad. Oh, there go Pacasino. Let's see what he said. Okay, so this is the post that finally got on my nerves, and I had to come out and say something. I haven't been going live. I've been busy. I put my hand to the plow in real life, not online. And I'm not trying to build a Facebook, YouTube thing. I'm trying to build stuff in real life. No disrespect to anybody who's out there building, YouTube content and things like that. I think both work together, but my concern is in my daily life and the people I interact with, right? In my community and making money and building things here. So let's go. Okay, so it's Christina Lee. He and I'm gonna represent him like he said. He said that he's not holding Sha'Carri to a greater standard to Bill Cosby. And if you think that's what I said, you missed the whole point. But let's read his post. Sha'Carri Richardson and Brianna McNeil are being used to cheapen cries against structural. Hold on. My little lady needs a fork. Sorry, y'all. Stuff don't stop around here because I am talking to y'all. But we're gonna go here. Sha'Carri Richardson and Brianna McNeil are being used to cheapen cries against structural anti-Black racism. Olympics are European games. Okay. Okay. Olympics are European games, but it's been participated by, in large, the entire world, right? Okay, for a long time before we were born. Okay, but okay, Olympics are European games, and Europeans made the rules. You don't have to participate, but you can't irresponsibly violate their rules, smoke weed, and manipulate doctors' records, then act as if you're being structurally aggressed upon. First of all, Sha'Carri Richardson took accountability for what she did and said, I will come back in 4 years and I will win the United States' gold. She never said structural racism is the reason why I'm being eliminated from participating. Dallas, understand that you have to follow the rules. This is something that we emphasize all the time with our young people. But and it's something that we're not defending here. Okay, but Pakistan is all the way in California. He's not down here, so he doesn't know how Black people here are taking it. Okay. Now keep in mind, no words for Dr. Cosby and his cheating on his wife and his violation of his covenant with his wife, or having sex with women in the home that he shares with his family, or giving women quaaludes, which was illegal. None of that put him in jeopardy. But this is a watering down. Then act as if you're being structurally aggressed upon. Sha'Carri Richardson never did that. I'm not sure about Brianna McNeil. I haven't looked into that story. I'm convinced these cases aren't about racism. So when Black women are disciplined, like Cosby was and should have been and deserved, it's not about racism. It's about these Black bitches getting what they deserve. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say that. Obviously, we're on the thing. And I believe the widely publicized nature of them is just situ. This gets way more Yeah, let's move on. Move by white supremacist media trying to force a win with its back on the ground. We're all supposed to rally around these individuals who clearly violated rules, but chalk it up to structural racism. Wait a minute, Bill Cosby violated rules. He violated his marriage covenant. He violated the United States laws of drugs, the war on drugs. He got on top of a semi-conscious woman and had sex with her. And you don't think that's rape. You don't think that's rape. That's rape. If she couldn't say yes, then he did not get consent. To treat these cases as if they're explicit demonstrations of racism would be a misstep that reflects misjudgment. And if that was indeed the corporate sponsored white supremacist media's objective, then that might be a good look for social justice long game. Really? Bill Cosby is essentially an LJ case. We know he did it, but the flawed system lost against him. And so there's the victory. Your broken system that we keep on saying is broken, worked against your interest now. Are you willing to say, let's take another look? That should be the message here. But instead, it is, let's hold this 19-year-old more responsible than a Bill Clinton. Now, let's see, because he just responded, and I'm all about, letting people speak their piece. I actually invited Christina Lee on. He didn't want to come on. So, there you go. Let's go live. Go live about what? Let's go through that. Go back up because you're justifying rape on my page. You're literally saying that women have to own men violating them because of their dress and location. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Yeah. And Christina, I just asked you all the ways you could have held Bill responsible, which you have yet to speak on. And this is what he says on Bill, but not Sha'Carri. I'll leave the law to hold Bill accountable, just as I do Richardson and McNeil. Good one, Christina Lee. Good one, but you can't control the outcries of people. I don't have an outcry for Sha'Carri Richardson. She owned her mistakes, and she has went on, and she's going to run the 4x4, and she'll be back in 4 years, better, stronger, and wiser. Bill Cosby has yet to say that I didn't understand what rape was, and I did that, and I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll leave that. Yeah, we're going in. So now we go to when I substantiate my points, I'm really upset, I'm emotional, right? That's what misogynist men usually say. So again, I called him first. I tried to speak this out. Like, what are you saying? Here. And basically what he's saying, okay, here we go, Gary Wilborn, because we're about to get in his comments next. Pakistan, she can see everything through the eyes of misandry. Misandry? What? Or she doesn't see anything at all. What is he talking about? Like, nah. She fails to ever hold women self-accountable. I don't hold women accountable for the decisions of men, which men are trying to hold women accountable for. For example, when we talk about single motherhood, we are holding women accountable for men deciding not to step up and father when they knew that once they ejaculate into a person, they then pass the baton to somebody else to make decisions, right? So I would say younger men understand this, but men of our generation and older, they don't understand it. They're like, why can't I tell a woman what to do? Because you can't. Women and men are both governed by the Most High. And men, especially Black men, are the reason for all of Black women's problems. It's all she cares about, very emotional. But Gary Wilborn is on my page and other people's page talking terribly about Black women every day. So much so that he is known to be the Black woman basher in the Israel community. And no man has ever stepped to correct him for anything, as we see. And I'll get back to him when I'm done. But we're going to go back to the post on my page so we can now see what the Black man pathology is, okay? Because I'm not just going to witness about it. You're going to see. You're going to see. Okay, so here I say, going back to Gary Wilborn, I spent an hour explaining to a male, and we're going to see that too. I'm going to show it. I spent an hour explaining to a male that a woman taking drugs is not consent to sex. A semi-conscious woman can't consent to sex. Saying yes to drugs or alcohol doesn't mean that a woman gets what she deserves by being raped. Location doesn't make rape okay. Time of day doesn't make rape okay. Dress doesn't make rape okay. Still, he held his position that all of those things are a good reason to rape a woman. This is a so-called man of the Most High, by the way. And, the Most High in Deuteronomy 22, I believe it's 25, says that raping a woman is like coming up to murder your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? but he's a man of the Most High. Okay, so let's go into more. We know women aren't responsible for anything, including pregnancy, abortions, unmodest apparel, twerking, hot girl summer, STDs, young wayward boys, whoring unmarried daughters, etc. That's why our men must rule over you. But the problem with that, Gary, I don't know how you grew up, but how I grew up, most of me and my friends didn't have a father around to rule over anything. They bounced. And so when you bounce, you are still impacting a child by not being the second co-signer of the other parent telling the child of how to go and training of the child. Therefore, that child is more likely to be in havoc. We have stats and data on unfathered children. Okay, we do not have data on good mothers. What we do, it's called the Black community, especially the girls who believe their moms. For the most part, who love their moms. So let's look at the replies. I'm sure it went in. Oh, sorry. Because we're gonna see what I said. I'm not gonna go into what I think right now. We're gonna see what I actually said. What does that have to do with the unaddressed stat that you haven't addressed, which is like everything in the Black community? Gary Wilbur, I explained it. Victims of sexual assault cannot be blamed for their own rape. Okay, so the stats that I put out is that Black women are being killed twice as much as any other race of women by Black men. Okay. White men kill their women, Asian men kill their women, Latino men kill their women, but Black men are doing it 2.5 times as much. And that's according to the study when men murder women. That's not me just making it up. It's what it is. So I explained to Gary Wilbur that victims of sexual assault cannot be blamed for their own rape. None of what you are mentioning is listed. Having sex, because we're not talking about that. We're talking, first of all, I'm gonna get there in a minute, but let's stay on this. Having sex with another person's permission is rape. Without another person's permission is rape, no matter how they are dressed, where they are, what they drink or smoke. Because really, a rapist can just say, she wore short skirt and that aroused me. If we allow men to actually say that a woman did something to make him rape her, then that is what he'll say to justify rape. But, ironically, and I know that women, hated that they weren't really in the positions of power that men were at times, but men decided that long before. And they decided that with women that they can't have sex with, like their mother, their daughter, their sister, their cousin in mind. Okay. That's not a justification. Men decided that. Okay. Even in Black communities, that's not acceptable. Okay. Black communities internationally, that's not acceptable. Yet somehow American Black men think that there's an excuse to rape a woman. Yeah, there's a real reason to rape her. Okay, so this is pathology. Okay. I say this because I don't want to criminalize or make black men look bad. And I will graciously say it's not all black men, but specifically those in this realm of Hebrew Israelite. When we talk about pro-black movements, this is why Cynthia G went on her shit, and I don't have nothing on her. Okay, I don't have nothing on this lady. She is handling you people. I haven't seen a man yet who can handle what Cynthia G has to say intellectually. I see them get upset. So, Gary Wilburn, you need professional help and you need to stay far away from women. Here's a video that explains what consent and rape means. Once you watch it, you will see how Cosby raped Compton. Okay. So, I would like to play this video, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to play. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to try. And I'm going to put this there. So, here's her okay. Okay. So, I'm going to stop it there because I don't want to get in trouble with that. But that's the definite. Did you notice intoxication was in there? So Cosby reportedly gave her a Benadryl, right? She was unresponsible, or not responsible, but unresponsive when he put his hands toward her private area. And he actually says in the deposition, because she didn't say no, I went ahead and did my business, like Mr. Yeah. The lady is a therapist. Give her a call. I recommended that Gary give her a call. And I said, no, women don't have to take responsibility for a man's decision to violate her at any location, time, wearing any particular outfit, or because she bats her eyes. Stop that bullshit immediately. And for those who know me, I do curse. Sorry. I can't even say that I'm working on it because at this point I've given up because I can't believe the shit I am hearing. Okay. So then I go on. The difference between Kevin Samuels and Cynthia G is that Cynthia's stats are correct. I have fact checked both of them on their stats, and Cynthia G actually has the correct stats that you can find and verify. Kevin Samuels, we don't know what type of stats he's coming up with. He says that most black men are not fathers, and I was accused of putting up an old article, but I put up a new article from 2019 and it gave the same stat. Most black men are fathers by the age of 40. So when Kevin Samuels is talking about Pookies and Ray Rays are the baby daddy, keep in mind he's the baby daddy too. He's talking about 80% of black men, which is a generalization. Okay. But anyway, while Kevin knows his audience is intellectually lazy enough to pass his stats off as facts, Cynthia knows women aren't that lucky. Women aren't that lucky. I fact checked both of their stats, by the way. Let's go into the comments. Oh, here's Gary again. 33 comments, and I'm pretty sure it's Gary. Cynthia G never came up with those facts on Kevin Samuels. She promised. Kevin now has over 1 million subscribers. So, men who typically lack male influence in their life look for a man to look up to, like Bill Cosby, like Kevin Samuels. And this is why they're riding so hard for them. Whereas women, we have, like, I loved Whitney Houston. I loved her. I was like, Whitney is my girl. But I wasn't going to ride for her if she was wrong. You know, if you're strung out on drugs, you know, you're with this man and stuff like that. Those are true things, but that doesn't take away from your talent. And that is some, and I could at least say I am appreciative for her contribution to the music or right. I can separate the two. I don't have to say that everybody has to admonish her character in order for her to be relevant. We can appreciate the things that she does do. But black men, when they are really involved in Sorry guys, my stuff is going crazy. I'm gonna have to redo this live, and for those of you who are listening who think I am not going to come back to this shit, yeah, I definitely will. And we're going to go through everything you had to say. And if you cannot tell me why you're holding a 19-year-old more responsible for smoking weed after her mother died than a 40 to 60 through 60, because that's how long he did it for, man responsible for breaking his marriage vows, having sex with women in his marriage home, having 2 kids on drugs while he demeaned the Black community, then the problem is you here. The problem is you and your mentality, and you need to sit down and have several freaking seats. You're not fit to lead anything in this community. You're not fit to be in this community. You are not fit to be a man or a woman of the Most High. You need to sit all the way down. I'm gonna fix this problem. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do it again, and I'm going to show. I'm gonna keep this broadcast though, because I know some people are gonna go through and delete what they said, because now they're going to have to admit and be held to accountability when it comes to the fact that you are supporting rape and rape culture.